and founder of Phoebe Dray, CPA. She is the Cashflow Pocket Rocket. So welcome, Phoebe. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight.
Thank you, Carly, for having me. I'm really great. Thank you.
And you're up there on the Gold Coast, aren't you?
I am on the Gold Coast.
Is the sun shining?
Not sunny today.
No, not so golden.
Not so golden. We had some beautiful weather over the weekend and it just got a bit cloudy today. So hopefully sunny again by the weekend would be nice.
Yay. Yeah, I love spring. It's just one of my favorite seasons. It's a beautiful, beautiful time of year, especially where you are. So, Phoebe, now you've been a speaker before on Positive Passionate Businesswoman, and you've also come in and shared your wisdom in the Hello Media coaching groups as well. So I have been loving hearing what you do and being inspired by just your absolute nuggets of gold. So now I think it's time that we all got to hear about how you actually got into what you do and share a little bit about how your journey started.
It's a really interesting journey, actually. So I left school, not really sure what I wanted to do, and studied natural medicine, of all things, at Southern Cross University in Lismore, down near you, Kylie. And I loved uni life. I loved being in Lismore and all the people I met. But unfortunately, I realised after about the second year that natural medicine wasn't my jam. I couldn't grow a weed, basically. I was growing herbs as one of my herb subjects, and it was a marigold. I was trying to grow a marigold and I killed the marigold, and I was like, oh, you know what? I thought I'd love massage and all the rest of it. And I decided that it wasn't my jam. So I packed up my bags and went traveling for about 2.5, 3 years. But I could always hear this little niggle in the back of my head with my parents, because they're like, we didn't send you to private school for you just to travel around the world and become a barmaid and do all this stuff. So eventually I was like, okay, I better come home to Australia and do something. And to be honest, I had no idea what I was going to do. And I just applied for a basic business degree at Griffith University on the Gold Coast and got in, thankfully. And so went along and I just loved it. Actually, I actually surprised myself. I definitely surprised all of my family and friends, but I absolutely loved everything about it, even statistics. And at school, maths was not my jam. And I just took to it like a duck to water. Got first in marketing out of the whole class, and got, really high grade point average, loved accounting, loved economics, everything about business. And my dad actually was an accountant, and he had his own small public practice on the Gold Coast. So I think it was halfway through my first year of uni, and it was like the easy option. He needed someone to work for him. And I was like, well, I'm not really doing that much, seeing as I'm just studying. So started working with my dad. And the rest was history, really. Just continued working with my dad. And eventually he thought that I would be his succession plan. So invested in some coaches who were to kind of guide me and help me step up into being the business leader of the accounting firm. And that's just kind of, I fell into it really, into the accounting world. And I think I kind of felt like I should have done marketing at one stage, but when I was picking my my streams that I was going, my specializations, I just felt like there was so many people doing marketing that I would really struggle to find work afterwards. So I kind of, I guess, took the easy path and went down the path of accounting. And I don't regret it, absolutely love it.
Great. I just think that's a great story, and how extraordinary that you went from natural therapies, even the idea of doing massage, and now you're doing numbers.
I know.
It's pretty extremely different. And then I loved when you said you actually had a bit of an interest in marketing, because that's the beauty of being a small business owner, is that you can do whichever bits you want to do yourself. So you can choose to outsource whatever or to keep in-house whatever. So you can do your own marketing, which is wonderful.
And I try to do a bit of my own marketing.
Oh, I think you do a great job, Phoebe. So out of interest then, what would be something in your business that you like to outsource?
I do outsource my social media quite a lot. I'm not a massive fan of spending hours kind of creating images and trawling through and posting in social media. So I do outsource a lot of my social media management, and also, I guess, a bit of the tech. I've got a new platform that I'm using for my customers, clients, called Sweet Dash. And I was working with I've engaged someone to come and help me. So they actually sit with me while I do it so that I can learn at the same time, because I don't want to, I'm a big believer that you just don't abdicate something to someone else. You've got to understand it yourself before you then delegate it. So I'm getting her to help me go through it, and so that I can understand how it works. But it's just so frustrating. I'm like, every little thing you've got to go in and change something here. And if you change something there, then you've got to change it over here. And it's just time consuming and frustrating. So definitely once I've got a handle of it and I can hand it over to someone else, it will definitely be something I hand over to someone else. But I really want to make sure that I understand how to use the software first before I do that.
I absolutely love that you've said that, because I have shared before the pickle I have been in the bookkeeping accountant since many, many years ago. It was with a previous, my e-commerce business. And I went off, found a bookkeeper, et cetera, and just handed it over. No idea what was going on. And then it turned out I'd got myself in a pickle because I wasn't registered for GST when I should have been. But she told me that she'd let me know when it was time, and then went, oh, whoops, 9 months later, I should have mentioned it. Anyway, long story short, I was speaking to the ATO, very upset about the whole situation. And they literally kept saying to me, too bad, Kylie, who is the business owner here? Not your accountant, not your bookkeeper, it's you. Unless you fully understand your own business, then you have no business being in business. And it was harsh to hear, it really, really was. But it was a very important lesson for me. So after that, I brought in someone to train me in MyOb. That was so challenging. I then brought in someone to train me in Xero. And I then got a bookkeeper who would come and sit with me in the office every week and would work together it took about 2 years while I really fully got a grip. And then I feel so confident that after that to outsource my bookkeeping, because now I really, really understand what it's about. So I just think, I love what you said there. It astounds me. And probably some of the most challenging clients we've had over the years have been the ones that don't want to know what we do, don't really get it, have no interest in it whatsoever. And they just say, I just want you to do it. And then we can't really then even celebrate their wins with them really well, because they don't even understand that that could be a win. Or when something hasn't gone well, they can find that quite hard to grasp. So I'm a really firm believer in exactly what you said. Learn how it is, learn to do what you're then going to outsource, so that you can at least have an understanding of what 100%. It's all about. Yeah, it's a very interesting one. So would you say that you're doing your dream job right now?
I actually think I am doing my dream job right now. I would love the opportunity to be able to reach more people. So I think as I mentioned just before when we were chatting, I really want to build my coaching, one-on-one coaching up to a certain level. And then I really want to focus on that leverage strategy, whether it's doing in-person events where I'm actually invited to be a keynote speaker, or whether I'm hosting my own big events where I can reach more people, or I actually have a lot more online type programs or courses that people can engage with, so I can actually get out there and reach more people and have it really, like, my message really nailed and really connecting with so many more people. But what I'm doing, what I'm actually sharing with the world, really is my passion. And I think it's so important for small business owners to understand their numbers and to understand cash flow and really understand what they want to achieve in their business. So I really love sharing that. And I love, one of my clients said to me the other day that I really Phoebify it for them. So I break it down and make it simple and easy for them to understand, so that they can then have that knowledge and that power to go in and know what they're looking at and have the confidence that, that money side, that financial side of their business, and also the strategy side of their business is really taken care of.
I love that so much. You Phoebify it for them. I think that's great. And look, the times that I have listened to you and learned from you, it's quite mind-blowing. I literally scribble notes frantically, because there's just so much gold that you're sharing there, and you really are demystifying it for people. So I think it's very clever, but also I think a lot of the time some business owners might be going, do we really need to know our numbers? And then when you hear you talk, it's like, hell's yeah, I really need to know my numbers. And you're actually making people excited about knowing their numbers.
I hope so, because I get excited about it.
I think you're making numbers sexy. That's the hard thing to do. So Phoebe, tell us something that people wouldn't know about you, that's something interesting, fascinating, or wowzers.
Well, something that's probably a lot of people don't know just yet is that my husband has accepted a position in Canada. So my family and I, we're relocating to Canada, Vancouver, in early January. So that's probably the biggest news at the moment. Something that people don't know about me, though, that would be wowzers apart from that would be, gosh, I love to mountain bike ride.
What?
Yeah, so that's something that's pretty fun and cool and kind of pushes me to my limits, might get my adrenaline pumping. And I, I've never have said that I was a very good bike rider before meeting my husband. And he's the one that's introduced me to mountain bike riding, bought me a bike, actually, I think, to kind of give me an even bigger incentive to get out there and join him on the trails. But I love it. And it's, yeah, as I said, I do get a bit anxious and I do end up with very sore hands from gripping the handlebars so tightly. But yeah, it's fun and it's good to get out and do something that kind of gives you that little bit of a adrenaline pump and makes you know that you're alive.
It's so awesome to have something so completely different to your business too, that you're in one space and I'm sure you can't think about business issues or anything when you're mountain biking, gripping on for dear life.
No, you're 100% focused in the moment of not hitting a rock or not hitting a tree or staying on your bike. So yeah, you 100% have to be present. So it probably is a really good time to actually be really mindful of being just present, not thinking about everything else that's going on and just focusing on the trail in front of you and where you're going and making sure that, yeah, you're not going to fall off and injure yourself in some way.
How amazing. Wow, that's so fun. And so I get the feeling just from watching your socials and things that you get quite sporty with your family. So surely Vancouver's a very exciting proposition. Are you guys taking your bikes?
I think we are. We haven't looked into the shipping costs or anything yet, just to work out whether it's financially viable to ship them over or we just buy new bikes when we get to Canada. But Dan, definitely, he said to me the other day, he's got to join an old man's riding club to make some new friends and go cycling while we're over there. We will be arriving in winter, so it's not urgent that we have our bikes there for a little while anyway. So we probably will ship them over, I think.
Super exciting times. So Phoebe, do you have a mantra or a quote that you live by or a word of the year?
Oh, I do. I do often say that one about, never abdicate, always delegate. I think that's probably my mantra at the moment. And I talk to people about that often when I'm doing coaching with them and sharing the importance of understanding your numbers. What would be another mantra? Just really my real passion is really helping business owners to boom their profit and to maximize cash flow with confidence. So cash flow is absolute king and queen of your business. And without cash flow, you can even have the most profitable business, but if you can't get the cash into the bank, it can make your business, put it a lot into under a lot of financial stress, and you can actually go bankrupt really quickly. So really just making sure cash is king and queen of your business and really focusing on those strategies to get cash in and have a good cash flow in your business.
Brilliant. So what kind of clients do you like to work with? What kind of businesses do they have?
Oh, I love working with all sorts of business, actually. I just love business in general. Probably at the moment, probably businesses that are a little bit more established maybe and have got, potentially a team and they're looking to really grow their business and they're really wanting to actually step up into that leadership role. They're wanting to step up to be that CEO and understand that they need the support and guidance to help them take that next step through business. So often I find, businesses in the first few years, at least, you're really the artisan. So whether you start your business as, your chocolate maker. So for that first kind of few years, you really are the ones in the factory making the chocolates and you're the real artisan doing the work. But it's kind of that next leap where you kind of realize that to grow your business and to take it to the next level, you need to step up to be the true CEO and start implementing your systems and your processes and engaging a team of people to help you do that. And it's that kind of level of growth to go from being that artisan to being the true CEO. I really love working with people through that process because it really is a big learning curve. And what kind of got you to that point where you're still the artisan to kind of go to that next level is a whole new skill set and a whole new mindset. And I just love working with business owners to take them through that journey.
It really is a tricky one, isn't it? And I've learned along the way that not everybody even wants to end up being that CEO, that they actually love what drew them to do it in the first place, like the example of making chocolates or whatever. And then when you're managing a team and all of that, you kind of like, well, actually, I'm not doing what I loved anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and of course, I'm sure there's just as many people who are desperate to get to that next stage and next level of
I
business.
think that kind of that jump from being the artisan to the true CEO and getting that leveraged business. So you kind of get to that lifestyle stage. And a lot of people don't want to make that leap. Like they're quite happy with their business at that size, and they're happy with the income they're making, and they're still able to kind of connect in with what they're passionate about. But a lot of people do want to kind of get to that next level of growth. But often what I find happens is they kind of get up to there, and unless they've got the good systems and processes in place, it's easy to kind of get slipped back down because you're constantly being interrupted by your team members because you don't have the proper systems in place. And your profitability might be getting reduced because all of a sudden you've had to engage people to help you set up systems, and you have to help, you got a team on board, and your money can be going a bit everywhere as well. So often find that kind of leap can be one of the hardest. And often I find people do actually decide, well, it's probably easier just to go back to, where we had 1 or 2 staff members and we're doing it all ourselves and we're happy with the profit. So I just really want to make that kind of process. And if they do want to stay at that lifestyle stage, which is absolutely nothing wrong with that, like just really making sure their business is efficient and effective, and then can continue to make that income that they desire, that they're currently making. So making sure they are still keeping their eye on the bigger picture, and they're not kind of getting too caught up in that day-to-day work and letting, all of a sudden someone doesn't like chocolate anymore, or their flavors have gone out, and, their sales can drop on. So making sure they're still, even if they are wanting to stay in the lifestyle stage, that they are keeping their eye on the ball and making sure they're changing to the marketplace and being as efficient and effective as possible.
So much wisdom you've just said right there. And that reminds me that one of the things I've been doing for maybe 3 or 4 years now, I'm not sure, but for quite some time, is I have a day each week that's set in the calendar in stone, that CEO day. Mm-hmm. And that's the day that I work on the business, that I'm not just in the business. Now, often that CEO day doesn't go according to plan. I've got urgent Zooms I've got to chuck in there, if I've missed a client appointment and we've got to reschedule or whatever. So it doesn't always happen that it is my day each week to just sort it out and look at that bigger picture and everything. But the fact that it's scheduled every week is a really important thing. And I have to say, when I started doing that in business, in fact, I wish I'd done in my past business, because it's so easy to get bogged down with the little bits and pieces. And yeah, you lose sight of why you're doing it in the first place and where you want to go with it and how to reach those goals.
100%. Yep.
So what are the things that you would never in a million years stop doing, no matter what?
Never in a million years stop doing. I actually don't know if there is anything that I'd never ever stop doing, to be honest with you. I think life
pass it all on.
Well, I feel like life changes and you grow and you develop and different things happen, and yeah, as you grow and change, you kind of let go of certain things and kind of take on new things. I don't know that I'd ever say never ever stop doing something. Something I do absolutely love is speaking. I love presenting, and I would really love to kind of get better at it, of course, improve my skills, but to be able to get more speaking gigs around the world even, and become like a keynote speaker. So something I think I would love to continue to do and actually grow and develop more, would be the speaking and really get onto that, like being asked to present. That would be my absolute dream. Someone, contacts me and says, would you come and be a speaker at our big event? And we've heard so much about, we'd love to be there. So I don't think I'll ever stop, teaching and sharing my wisdom. I just love sharing and my knowledge and connection and building other businesses up. So I don't think I'll ever stop doing that. And even if, I was to sell this business or discontinue this business, I think no matter what I was doing, I'd still wanting to be in that kind of mentorship, that role of helping other business owners and teaching and sharing my knowledge.
Magic. And you know what? I totally imagine you as a keynote speaker all around the world. You just have such a way of sharing and inspiring and all of that stuff. Every time I've seen you speak, I'm just like, So
thank you.
Totally seeing you doing that, Phoebe. I can't wait to see that evolve for you. So if you could tell other women, or even one other woman that is just starting out in business, just one tip, what would you like them to know?
One tip is just become really clear on what you would like the business to provide to you. it's so easy to get caught up and have the business start dictating to you how you live your life. But by really, and I share it quite a lot, is that freedom number process and becoming really clear on, okay, well, if I want to earn this level of income personally, what do I need to do to achieve that on a monthly basis? And becoming really clear on that. So, you kind of your goal, and it might be a smaller goal that you kind of just covering your initial expense, your initial personal expenses are a lower level, but as your business grows and you expand that, it might become a bigger goal, but just keep having that vision in place and that goal of what you're trying to achieve, and being really clear on your passion and your vision and your purpose for your business, because business is definitely a roller coaster ride, and it has its ups and it has its downs. And it's the days when you don't feel like getting out of bed and you don't feel like showing up on social media and you don't feel like connecting with your clients or customers, that you really need to tap into that bigger picture of why you're doing what you're doing. And it could be a personal reason, it could be a big legacy reason, whatever it is for you, but become really clear on that, so that when you do have those days that you don't feel like it, you can really tap back into that why and keep going. And the other thing probably, Kylie, that I would say is to really connect in with other business owners, other females. If you're a female entrepreneur, connect in and get into a community of other female owners that are going to lift you up and support you. And hopefully, if you're having a down day, one of the other women in your community and in your support group will be able to lift you back up. So having that support network around you that you can reach out and ask for help whenever you need it, because I remember business can be really lonely, and without that support network and without your big vision, it can be sometimes easier just to throw it all in and walk away. So really building up that strong community around you and having a big vision.
Then maybe my final question to you is almost already answered, which is, what do you love most about being a positive, passionate woman in business?
It's the community, Kylie, and meeting lovely women just like yourself who are so passionate about what they do. And it could be, some of the women I've met in the group, one lady creates the hats, doesn't she, for the horses, and another one's got like a tick removal piece of equipment. And so you meet people in business that have got such wide and variety of what they do. I know Christine, who's got the washing, the washing up detergent, the clothes washing good sheets. So everyone does something completely different, and the reason for people doing business and why they start their business is so different. But at the end of the day, we're all very similar. Like, we're kind of people that are willing to take a chance, willing to take a risk, very supportive of each other. And I just love being in a group like the Positive Passionate Businesswomen to really help each other, support, and knowing that you can jump into the Facebook group at any time and kind of share if you had a win or share if you need some help, and people are there to support and help you on your journey.
I just think that's a beautiful answer. And I do have one thing to say about that. What I notice, and it's not just in our group, it's in many, many groups that I've been involved in, is that women don't seem to be so comfortable sharing their wins. I've noticed they're super comfortable to ask for advice or help, or do you know why this is happening, or whatever it is. But I'm noticing they don't so much share your wins. You notice that?
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like women don't want to sometimes put themselves up there and say, oh, look at what I achieved and look how great I am. And I don't know whether it's the Australian like kind of culture a bit or what it is. But yeah, and often it's also, I think the other thing too, Carly, is that women often have, I've got to achieve this goal and then the next goal and the next goal, and often don't stop to actually celebrate or acknowledge the win in the first place. So, really important to, business is a roller coaster, as I mentioned, and making sure you celebrate when you're on those high highs and share those. And even I've suggested to people, before clients, to write down on a piece of paper those wins and those testimonials and having them in a jar. And if you are having one of those down days, like getting out one of those little wins and reading it to yourself, and that gives you that little bit of boost to kind of keep going. But share those wins, celebrate them, go out with your besties and ask someone for a cup of coffee to celebrate a win, or do something, just to acknowledge what you've achieved. And, I'm a big believer in the universe. And when you kind of really start acknowledging all your successes, and the universe is like, well, she's really appreciative and grateful of everything we're giving you. Here's some more. So definitely jump out there and start celebrating those wins.
Yeah, beautiful. One thing we do in our group coaching for Hello Media every week is that everybody shares a win. So it can be the tiniest thing, that they were having troubles with their shipping in the back end of their website, or the biggest thing. It could be anything. huge amount of sales that week or whatever. But sharing the win is just such an important thing to, as you said, just keep reminding yourself of actually there's good things every single week or every day. And then the other thing we do every week is what challenge, not did we have, but what challenge are we going to tackle for the next week? So then you can already get ideas on, this is what my challenge is going to be. How am I going to tackle it? And who do I need to ask for help to get that done?
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the way that we finish that every week. It feels like finishing on a really positive note and setting some intention. So, well, Phoebe, thank you so much for sharing with me. I've just really enjoyed that chat. So how can people get in touch with you?
I'm on all the social medias. So Phoebe Dray, Dray. It's Instagram. I think it's Phoebe Dray Phoebe_Dray. But they can also go to my website, phoebedray.com. And there's lots of different links on there. And I have a podcast too, which is called Profit to Cash. So I do weekly bite-sized business tips if anyone wants to jump over and listen to that.
Awesome. My other podcast is Bite-Sized Business. So thank you. We're so similar there.
Love it.
Very fun. Very fun. I really enjoy your podcast. So yeah, definitely
Thank you, Kylie.
Encourage everybody to go and listen, but also to be able to learn. So I found I'm better off listening to it when I've got a notebook with me rather than when I'm going on a walk, because I always have things to write down.
Well, that's good to know.
Such great things that you share. So thank you so much for being with me. And thank you so much for being part of the Positive Passionate Businesswoman group and our new membership directory and all the different ways that we're growing. It's really exciting, and good luck with your new venture. Obviously we'll see you before that, but
yes,
I'm super pumped for you and all that's coming to you, Phoebe. It's wonderful.
Thank you, Kylie. Thank you very much for having me on the podcast today.
Thank you. So I'm Kylie Mowbray-Allen from Hello Media, and our group is Positive Passionate Businesswomen, and we're all about supporting women and helping each other or collaborate with each other rather than looking at each other as competition. So when women work together, amazing things can happen. So thanks so much for tuning in, listening, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And thank you, Phoebe. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.